What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're finally going to start working on the Genesis Coupe. That thing has been sitting in the garage for over a month now, and I've yet to actually touch it. And most of it is due to because that thing is just super dead. The battery on that thing is absolutely gone. No matter what you do, it's never coming back to life, and I've yet to go buy another one for it. So before we can even get into the entire point of today's video, we first need to go to the store to get a new battery, because I can't fix the height sensor issue on my AirLift 3H if I can't start the car. So first thing we're gonna do is go pick up a new battery. Now we're heading to none other than Walmart, because I hear their batteries are actually pretty good, and they're both literally half the cost of anywhere else, like all the auto parts store. And the battery that's in it is a diehard, and that thing sucked. So how much worse can this Walmart battery actually be? At this point, if I still have battery issue and it keeps dying, I'm just gonna bite the bullet and buy an $850 anti-gravity battery with a smart restart thing. That's the only thing I can think of after this point. I've tested out, there's nothing drawing or any more unusual draws. So why the battery is dying when I immediately turn the car off after I jump started, it has to be just the battery at this point. Now, like I said, we're on the way to the store. We're going to Walmart, like I already said, pick up a battery because they're super cheap. Now, I didn't even actually check if the local one has my battery, but they had it a while ago when I meant to go buy one like 6 months ago. So hopefully they have one again, and if not, then we're gonna have to be on the hunt for another Walmart. Luckily there's like 4 within like 10 miles of here. But yeah, so I'm gonna run to the store, get a battery, then we'll catch back up when we get back to the garage with the car, throw the new battery in. Hopefully that makes the car run and start and not die every time you turn it off, and then we can actually get into the real reason and whole point of this video, which is fixing the height sensor issues. So catch up, you guys, when that's all set. Alrighty, so as you can see through the doorway here, we got the Genesis Coupe sitting in the garage, so we've made it back home. Genesis Coupe currently has no bumper on it, and the bumper is sitting on the workbench right there behind the new battery. The reason this is off the car really quick is because my original plan for today was to take the ABS and finish doing the repairs on this bumper, because this thing still isn't fixed from being damaged last summer, and unfortunately, I didn't come here last night to make some ABS slurry ahead of time. I just did that now, so that's going to need to sit, melt, and do its thing for quite a while. So that's why we're changing gears here and doing the height sensor arms. Here's one outside of the package. If you've never seen one of these, that's what it looks like. And anyway, first things first, we're going to deal with this dead battery situation. So here's the new one. Everstart Max, group size 124R for the Genesis Coupe. Quick facts here. Let's see, we got 700 cold cranking amps at 0 degrees Fahrenheit, 860 at 32 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm not sure how this one stacks up against that one. That one off the top of my head should be a diehard platinum. It's a silver one. That one is in fact an absorbed glass matte one though. This one is very clearly liquid filled. As you can probably hear that. I'm not sure how I feel about that. However, it has a 3-year warranty and a 90-day return window, so if I don't like it, I guess I can always return it. One thing to note is that this thing doesn't have a handle on it, which is totally stupid. I don't know why it doesn't have a handle. That's going to be a total pain in the butt putting this in, but it's okay. We'll move the strut tower bar and get everything out of the way so we have plenty enough room. But another thing is, these things are actually dated. As you can see, 823, it's currently 830-23, so we got a pretty much brand new battery here, and regardless, this thing is going to start the car, and that one isn't, and that's the most important thing. So with that being said, I want to get these height sensors dealt with today, so let's get this one out and that one in. Alright, so since this engine bay is absolutely disgusting here from sitting outside for so long, and everybody knows how to change out a battery, we're going to do this the easy way. And just like that, the new battery is installed, as you guys can see there. Now, funny enough, even though this didn't have a handle, that battery is a lot easier to install because it's much, much lighter than this diehard platinum. So I was right on that. This one, just for comparison, is 700 cold cranking amps, as well as that one is. Now, this battery is actually smaller, so it's not like super secure in here. It's secure. We're not going to be driving the car, but if I do drive the car and I keep this battery, I got to figure out a better tie-down solution, because this OEM one definitely not working for this battery to my liking. But so far, so good. Moment of truth now is going to be, we got the key. Oh, we got lights. Let's see if we can start this thing. Now, obviously, this thing is going to start. I just had a dead battery. Like, the car is not ruined. Got to be careful not to hit the cement garage door. Slide in here ever so gracefully. And let's get the key going here. So far, hell yeah. All right, now I know this is gonna kick on. Yep, because I had no air in my tank. So all right, so I gotta let this thing fill up. I gotta open up that garage door. Oh, and I hit the windshield wipers, and then I'll catch up with you guys in just a minute. Alrighty, and now that we got the battery situation all dealt with and the car can be turned off and turned back on again without dying in between, which it could not do before, it's time to get into the real reason of this video, and that is changing out the height sensor arms to hopefully solve this problem. Now, I know this isn't going to focus on this wording right here. This is the sensor tool in the settings menu. Try and zoom back, see if that's any easier to read. No, not really, but anyway, all 4 of my height sensors are in fact reading range low, and hopefully switching out the sensor arms, and you'll see why in just a second, is going to solve this problem. Now, let me get back to the workbench with the new sensor arms in hand. I'll show you exactly why we're doing this before we actually go ahead and do this. Alrighty, as you can see, we got all 4 height sensor arms right here. We got the packaging right there with the part number. I'll have a link to this in the description. I got these from Lowrider Depot because they're local to me, so I just placed an order, went ahead and picked them up. Now, I've had these for a while, since December of 2022. It's already almost September of 2023. That's how long it's been since I've had these and meant to do this. So this is the height sensor arm right there if you've never seen one. You got the 3 screw holes right there that mount the arm to the sensor. Then this acts as the pivot point, and you can see it pivots basically just like that. Now, with that being said, if you put the hardware in the lowest or longest hole, you can see with a range of motion, it gets a ton of travel. However, if you put it in the shortest hole with the same range of motion, it doesn't travel nearly as much. And that's what we're thinking is why each one of the height sensors, because they're all installed the same exact way, is reading range low. So in theory, moving this bolt out to this hole and then having the same travel but the better range of motion should be able to solve that problem. Now, normally you'd be able to just unbolt this and move it over. However, my arms have been cut after the middle hole right here, which means I don't have these 2 outermost holes, which is why I had to go ahead and buy a whole new set of arms. Now, no big deal. I'm not saying anything negative about the shop who did the install. Everything they done, like the lines, the wiring, because my whole entire management system got redone when they did the 3H from the old V2, and everything has been flawless. No leaks. Wiring looks good. Everything's neat. It's perfect. This one little tiny thing is the only thing that kind of was a little bit of a hiccup. These are $30 for a whole set, so this is really no big deal. I'm not saying anything negative about the shop who did the install. They just made one small error that I can hopefully easily fix and solve my problem. So, with that explanation out of the way, let's just get right into swapping these things in. Alrighty guys, so I don't know what the last clip you guys would have seen is, but unfortunately all of that was filmed almost a week ago. So that was all filmed on Wednesday of last week. It's currently the following Tuesday. And a lot has happened since then, and we have a lot to catching up to do. So I'm going to try and breeze right through this recap as much as I can. I had no intention of this video being a whole bunch of talking, but unfortunately, those are the cards we're dealt sometimes, and this is modified cars, and this is the life that we live. So let's get right into the recap here. So Wednesday, I threw the new sensor arm on, and I went to recalibrate the car, and it failed calibration twice. And then I remember, you know what, I have the donuts on the front. I need to swap to the Baz Rays, because the Baz Rays, as you can see, they're on the car, have a smaller overall diameter than the donuts do, which means the car can air out lower. It needs that extra range of low to then properly calibrate. So I swapped the Baz Rays on, thinking that was going to solve the issue, and once again, it still didn't calibrate. So I went into the main menu on the 3P controller, or 3H controller. Same thing, just 3H is what I have. And I went to air the car all the way out, and I noticed I had a yellow error arrow with like a range height limit or something like that. I'll throw it up on the screen right now so you guys know exactly what it said. And I was like, how the heck did we just get backwards progress here? We started off here with a range issue, and now we're somehow going back to now having an actual error arrow on the home menu. So I was like, what the heck? So at that point, I started to already run out of time Wednesday night, so I had to leave. I came back here on Thursday. Thursday, I came here, continued to mess with the linkage and the sensor arm and everything like that. Made sure everything was in the range of motion, put it in all 3 different holes on the sensor arm, made sure the linkage length was correct, all of that, and it still would not recalibrate. I had the Baz Rays on the front, and once again, it still just would not calibrate. And fortunately, I ran out of time again Thursday night. Now, this whole time, I haven't filmed anything because now I'm just getting aggravated, being like, how do we backtrack here? We're trying to progress, and somehow we've degressed. And now I'm just trying to figure out what's going on. So I couldn't work on the car Friday or Saturday, so I had to wait till Sunday. Now Sunday is my birthday, or was my birthday, and we were going out to eat early afternoon. So I came here super early in the morning and worked as late into the afternoon as I possibly could. And once again, still could not figure out what was causing the yellow arrow, or yellow error arrow. So once again, ran out of time on Sunday, still haven't filmed anything. I came back Monday morning. Now Monday morning, I took a step back and was like, something must be going on with the sensor itself. So what I did do is take a look at the sensor, and luckily I did that because, as you'll see here with the sensor, as I kick that stool out of the way, the old sensor is right here. And as you can see, let me clear some space here. This thing has a ton of play in it. So, seemingly, that sensor must have been bad. Now, this is now Monday, which was yesterday, Labor Day, so everything is closed. Now, luckily for me, I have a buddy, Nick, whose dad owns Low Rider Depot. Low Rider Depot is a local air suspension supplier, which is about an hour south of me in Foxborough. So I messaged him, I said, hey, do you guys happen to stock these parts? He said, yes. I said, what are the odds you guys are open today during the holiday? And he said, we're not opened. However, I am on my way to the shop because we just got home from being at the Staggered Festival all weekend. I can stick around and you can swing by if you'd like. So luckily for me and kindly enough from him, he ended up sticking around for me to drive over an hour down there. I picked up a new sensor as well as a new linkage right here because I figured, you know what, I might as well get an extra part while I'm going down there, and he's nice enough to wait for me. I might as well get as many things as I can think of could be the issue. So luckily for me, I ended up going down there and he waited for me. I picked up those parts and I came back Monday afternoon. So I swapped on the new sensor, and then I went to go and calibrate the system once again, and luckily, finally, it successfully recalibrated. However, that's all we did to get back to the starting point that we were at the very beginning of this video. So we haven't even got into solving the issue of the range being low. So after that, I was starting to mess with it, trying to make sure I could figure out how to get the range back into not being low. And I noticed in the sensor tool something very, very strange. So to show you that, I need to hop back in the car and show you exactly what I'm talking about. Oh yeah, also, shout out to my buddy Nick and shout out to Low Rider Depots for getting me those parts yesterday during Labor Day. They did not have to do that, and it was awesome that they did. I will have a link to the sensor, the arm, and the linkage in the description below to Low Rider Depot's site if you guys need that. Thanks, guys. Alrighty, so as you can see, we're back inside the Genesis Coupe, and it's running currently, so I can show you this new phenomenon that I've discovered since fixing the other issue here. So if we go into the main menu, we go to Setup, we go to Compressor Tool, you're going to see all four corners are reading range low. However, watch this. If I sit here and air them up, one by one, they're all going to switch to reading okay. Now, don't mind the compressors going, there's nothing we can do about that. However, you can see every corner, once it reaches aired up, is all reading okay. Alright, so now the compressors are stopped, we can continue talking here. Now that normally wouldn't be an issue on itself, however, watch this now. If we go over here and hit exit, then go back into the sensor tool, they all once again read range low. Now we're aired up all the way right now, so if we one by one air each corner down, just like so, you're going to notice that all four corners are once again going to go back into okay range. So why it is doing this is the new phenomenon that nobody really seems to have an answer for. So as you guys can see, as we go down, that's at 0, that bring it down, and then you bring this one down. So all four corners are now once again reading range okay. However, if you go into exit and then go back into the sensor tool, you can see each one of those is now reading range low once again. So now that you're all caught up with the current status of the air suspension management in the Genesis Coupe, we want to talk about what we're going to do going forward. And I don't really know is the answer right off the bat, but what we're going to do is I'm going to run the car just like this. I'm going to run the car not in manual mode, just using presets. So I'm probably going to pull the car out of here today or tomorrow or sometime this week and just drive the car around for a little bit and see if the presets are going to be accurate now that we have the new sensor in the one problematic corner. Now, something that I didn't previously mention yet, and I'll mention it right now, is the reason I picked this corner to start with is that this corner, the front passenger side, seems to be the most problematic. So I chose that corner to start with, because if that corner could be fixed with whatever we're doing here, which was originally the sensor arm and moving that linkage out one spot or two spots, If that one fixed that problem, it would fix all four corners problem. And unfortunately, that didn't happen. However, like I said, what we're going to do and going forward here is we're going to leave the car just like it is currently with the low range issue in the okay range or whatever it's doing now. I'm going to drive the car in preset mode only and see how consistent it is, because maybe the issue has been all along that one sensor was on its way out. Now I've checked all the other sensors, they seem to be fine, so hopefully those don't start acting up or go bad in the process. And now if the height sensors still are inconsistent, I'm then going to try this as just 3P only. So that means I'm going to take the height sensors and disable that in the settings, which then turns my 3H into a pressure-based 3P, and see how that works for consistency wise. Now originally I had V2 in this car. Now V2 couldn't really handle the rear sleeve backs as well as the front itty bitty tiny PBM back that this car has, which is why I upgraded to 3H thing, and height sensors are going to solve that inconsistency. But obviously we're having an inconsistency issue because of the range being low on the height sensors. So like I said, I'm going to try the height sensors, and if that doesn't work, we're going to go to 3P and go by pressure-based only, because hopefully 3P being a little bit more advanced than V2 will solve the inconsistency issue that we had with V2. However, if at that point we get to the 3P stage and that is still inconsistent, the time has come. This car is going to just go on to coilovers, because I cannot take the AirLift issues any longer. Now, even if I did switch to Acura E-Level, which a couple people tell me to, I talked to Acura and they were very, very straightforward and honest with me. They said if you have an issue with AirLift 3H, you are going to have the same exact issue with our E-Level system. We basically have the same sensor and the same programming. So if you have a system or an issue with their system, you're going to unfortunately have an issue with our system. So at least they were honest with me before I spent thousands of dollars and a whole bunch of time swapping to their system. So A+ to them for being honest and upfront. However, if in fact I cannot get consistent ride heights with 3P or 3H anymore, I'm just going to give up and put this car on coilovers. I already drive this car super low. I'm just not going to have this perfect aired out fitment. Like, this just is not possible static. I don't care who you are, who you think you are, and what kind of car you think you drive. You cannot do that static. I physically cannot turn the steering wheel when my car is aired out. Also, I'm going to have to do a whole bunch of work if I do put coilovers, because the clearances on the quarter panels and the fenders are specific to being aired out with this tire size, this wheel size, this amount of camber. So it's going to be a whole bunch of work. But unfortunately, that's just the step I'm going to take if I cannot get this air suspension to be as consistent as I want it to be. Now, with all that being said, we're just going to wrap up this video here. And in the next video, hopefully I get this car out of the garage, or it might be a video after this because I got a Santa Fe thing to do, but whatever. Regardless, that's what's been going on. That's where we're at right now, and that's the plan going forward. So hopefully in the next Genesis Coupe video, this car is out of the garage. I'm going to test drive it and see if we can get the height sensors to be a little bit more consistent now that I've replaced the one bad one. But for now, guys, unfortunately, I'm sorry this video was not as interesting and helpful, or it all worked on the car as much as I wanted it to be. It was a whole bunch of talking, but that's how we're dealt sometimes. But for now, peace out. I'll catch you guys on the next one.